My name is Jamie Wood, and this is Project 2 for Psychological Foundations. I will be comparing and contrasting two learning theories, and those learning theories will be theories of cognitive development as presented by Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky. So if we look up here at Jean Piaget, we learn that the basis of his theory is based on these 4 stages of development. And he believes that schemes or mental patterns that develop and guide behavior are changed and adjusted to deal with the world around them. And this is done, as Piaget puts, through assimilation and accommodation. And these are the idea that people will change these schemes when their approach doesn't work or when it doesn't fit in their box. And so we start with the first stage from birth to 2 years is the sensory motor stage. And this is where senses and motor skills are used to explore the world, and mainly through trial and error. And this is like a baby would do. And then he moves on to the second stage, is your pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years old. And this stage, you have a greater ability to think, but still lack some understanding. And often the detail and paying attention to only one aspect of the situation is what occurs in this stage. And so there's not a lot of details, and that's what he calls centration or lack of conservation. Can't look very deep into it. That happens more in your third stage from 7 to 11 years. You have your concrete operational stage where they can form concepts, see relationships, and even solve problems. But this only happens in a familiar situation. In this stage, they can't step out of the box, as Piaget says. There's not a lot of unknowns that are comfortable with them. That happens in your last and final stage from 11 years old plus, which is your last stage with him, formal operational stage. And this is your ability to think abstractly, and ability to deal with situations that may be potential or hypothetical. The critics for Piaget are because of these broad stages. Many believe that children were more competent than Piaget originally thought. They have different ways of learning, different situations in which they learn, and so that was the problem with Piaget. Where we have Lev Vygotsky here, where he believes that learning precedes the development. And so social culture factors are influential in the development of intelligence, and that happens through these mediated learnings, like children's zone of proximal development, where children have the ability to do something, but only with the help or assistance of a teacher or peer. That also happens in the social interactions like scaffolding and cooperative learning, and both of these are where children are assisted to develop these appropriate skills, all to reach your self-regulation and private speech, where Vygotsky says that this is where the learning is done and developing is done, to where children don't need assistance to accomplish these tasks. And so if we look here at the comparison of the two, I've done a Venn diagram here that kind of gives us some similarities and differences. And so if we look here at the similarities, Piaget has the 4 stages, or the differences, Piaget has the 4 stages from birth to young adulthood. And that's telling us that there's an endpoint to his development, where Vygotsky is opposite in that he believes that development begins at birth and does not end until death, so it's a continuous thing. And then Piaget also has the cognitive structures that need to develop before certain types of learning takes place, telling us that development precedes learning, which we learned earlier that is opposite of Vygotsky, where he believes the learning happens first. The self-regulating and the private speech, where they can do it without help of others, only happens when the learning from others through the social interactions and the environment around them develops those skills and the self-regulating abilities. And finally, we have Piaget focus on nature or biology. You're given what you're given. And Vygotsky is a nurture or cultural interactions, where the environment has a lot of effect on that development. Now, they are alike in these ways, where there is an order of development. There's a start, and then they go from there. And the importance of cooperative learning or social interaction is important in both theories, along with that experiences help with development. So they do have some broader ideas that are presented in both theories. And so in summary, we see that both of these theories are great. Neither one is 100% correct over the other. And often, many developmental psychologists believe that culture, that nature and nurture play a part in the development, the cognitive development abilities. And so both of these are still widely respected and used, and are used today in our classrooms to develop how we look at and how we study cognitive development in our classrooms.